Jon Stewart declared that America either has the rule of law or doesn't, as he slammed arguments that an indictment of the former President Donald Trump could boost his chances of becoming president again. The former Daily Show host's take comes after some Republican politicians said they think charges in the Manhattan District Attorney's Stormy Daniels hush money investigation could actually help Trump's 2024 campaign. CNN's Fareed Zakaria, in an interview with Stewart on Sunday, raised those arguments before the comedian quipped that the law should always take into account someone's popularity. Stewart later took a serious swing at the prospect of a Trump win following a potential indictment. He could become president anyway, Fareed. We either have the rule of law or we have no rule of law, Stewart said. The rule of law does not take into account if that might make you a martyr to somebody. The question, Stewart said, is, did he do something wrong? He added, I don't see him ever actually going to jail. I personally don't even care. I just want a system that somehow finds consistent accountability. In an interview with CNN's Christiane Amanpour, comedian and political commentator Jon Stewart delivered a scathing critique of former President Donald Trump's handling of the COVID-19 pandemic. Stewart, who has long been an outspoken critic of Trump, did not hold back in his criticism of the former president, and his comments have been widely praised for their clarity and force. In June 2021, Jon Stewart sat down with CNN's Christiane Amanpour for a highly anticipated interview, in which he delivered a blistering critique of former President Donald Trump's handling of the COVID-19 pandemic. The interview quickly made headlines and went viral on social media, with many viewers praising Stewart's forceful and passionate commentary. Throughout the interview, Stewart was forceful and passionate in his condemnation of Trump's handling of the pandemic. He drew on his years of experience as a political commentator and comedian to deliver biting critiques of Trump's policies and behavior, and his comments quickly went viral on social media. Stewart, who is well known for his political commentary and satire, began by pointing out that Trump had initially downplayed the severity of the pandemic, despite clear warnings from experts that it could become a major public health crisis. He played it down because he didn't want to create a panic, Stewart said. But the problem is, there's a pandemic, and it's a bit late to worry about causing a panic. The interview took place on June 17, 2021, and quickly made headlines due to Stewart's incisive commentary. During the interview, Stewart argued that Trump had failed to take the pandemic seriously from the outset and had engaged in a series of reckless and dangerous actions that put millions of lives at risk. Stewart began pointing out that Trump's initial response to the pandemic was to downplay its severity, despite clear warnings from experts that it could become a major public health crisis. He played it down because he didn't want to create a panic, Stewart said. Well, guess what? There's a pandemic, and it's a bit too late to worry about causing a panic. Stewart also criticized Trump for his reluctance to take decisive action in the early stages of the pandemic. He noted that while other countries, such as South Korea and Taiwan, had quickly implemented robust testing and contact tracing programs, Trump had failed to take similar steps in the United States. This, Stewart argued, had led to the rapid spread of the virus and the subsequent shutdowns and economic damage that followed. What we needed was a coordinated national response, Stewart said. But what we got was a patchwork of state-level responses, each one struggling to do the best they could with limited resources and conflicting guidance from the federal government. It was a disaster. Stewart also criticized Trump for his ongoing efforts to downplay the severity of the pandemic, even as the cases and deaths continue to climb. He noted that Trump had repeatedly made false and misleading statements about the virus, and had actively worked to undermine the credibility of public health experts and institutions. He's still doing it today, Stewart said. He's still spreading misinformation and conspiracy theories about the virus, and he's still trying to sow doubt and confusion about the vaccines. It's shameful. Throughout the interview, Stewart was forceful and passionate in his condemnation of Trump's handling of the pandemic. He drew on his years of experience as a political commentator and comedian to deliver biting critiques of Trump's policies and behavior, and his comments quickly went viral on social media. Many viewers praised Stewart for his honesty and clarity, and his interview with Amanpour was widely seen as a powerful rebuke of Trump's presidency and his handling of the pandemic. Some even suggested that Stewart's comments could have a significant impact on public opinion and could help to shape the national conversation about the pandemic and its aftermath. Stewart's comments also highlighted the ongoing political divide in the United States over the pandemic response. While some have praised Trump for his efforts to accelerate vaccine development and distribution, Others have criticized his administration's overall response, arguing that it was slow and ineffective, and that it led to unnecessary suffering and death. Stewart's interview came as the United States continued to grapple with the pandemic, with cases and deaths still rising in some parts of the country. It also came as the Biden administration worked to ramp up vaccine distribution and encourage Americans to get vaccinated in an effort to bring an end to the pandemic once and for all. Overall, Jon Stewart's interview with CNN was a powerful and unflinching critique of Trump's handling of the COVID-19 pandemic. By delivering a series of scathing comments and critiques, Stewart was able to drive home the severity of the crisis and the need for a more effective response. Whether or not his comments will have a lasting impact on the national conversation remains to be seen, but there is no doubt that they have already made a powerful impression on many viewers and commentators alike. Jon Stewart, the former host of The Daily Show, also said that he doesn't care about conversations surrounding whether former President Donald Trump would become a martyr should he be indicted. Stewart, who spoke recently to Fareed Zakaria on CNN's GPS, said that he was instead focused on finding a system of consistent accountability. Since January, a New York grand jury has been investigating Trump's connection to a $130,000 hush money payment to Stormy Daniels, an adult film actress. As the investigation comes to a close, Trump could face an indictment in the coming weeks. Trump's former lawyer, Michael Cohen, who testified before the New York grand jury, was sentenced to 3 years in prison in connection to this payment. Cohen now alleges that Trump ordered him to make the payments. Zakaria asked Stewart about whether Trump should be indicted, citing concerns that Trump, who received 74.2 million votes in 2020, could become a martyr for those who believe he is being treated unfairly by the justice system. "I think the law should always take into account someone's popularity," Stewart replied sarcastically. "I mean, what's happened to our country? It's as though you can't even commit financial fraud anymore." Stewart continued, "The idea that someone may face accountability who is that rich and powerful is outrageous, and this country shouldn't stand for it." After concluding his bit, Stewart explained that the rule of law does not consider if that might make you a martyr to somebody. "I'd much rather have the conversation be, what is the law? What exactly are we saying that he did? His lawyer went to jail for the same situation for a couple of years. So what is the crime? Is it a crime?" Stewart said. Stewart also spoke up against the lack of accountability in our financial systems and brought up congressional stock trades as an example. Following the news that he could be indicted, Trump took to social media to call for his followers to stand up for him, which experts think could give his most extreme followers a reason to resort to violence. Last week, Trump posted on Truth Social to warn about potential death and destruction should he be charged. Stewart is the man who gave millennials most of their news as they came of age politically. The man who prompted the New York Times to ask in 2008, "Is Jon Stewart the most trusted man in America?" And he did it always with a smirk and a wave of his hand, a constant protestation that he was really just out here to tell jokes and make people laugh. Yet, in the aftermath of the Trump administration, it's no longer clear that the liberal landscape Jon Stewart helped construct was an unalloyed good. Even more crucially, it's not clear that in his continued assertions that he was just a comedian who happened to tell jokes about politics were ever all that honest. As a result, the problem with Jon Stewart seems to be haunted by confused questions that no one involved seems to have quite figured out the answers to. Should Stewart still be doing his Daily Show thing? Should he ever have done it? What does it mean to be Jon Stewart? Jon Stewart, the man who taught a generation how to see the world. And does even Stewart fully understand the platform he has? For a long time, Stewart was the guy people could trust to tell it like it was. But now it seems like maybe he didn't understand how it was. So just how seriously should we take Jon Stewart anyway? And have we always gotten the answer to that question right? What do you think? Let us know in the comment section below.